Good morning, everybody. So I'm going to change April into some new clothes I found and tell you of something that happened while I was out shopping with her. And usually I have a very good experience, but I am a new reborn mum. I've only had April for a few weeks, and maybe I'm too trusting when I show her to people and let people hold her. Mostly, I've had a very good experience so far, but I had a terrible experience the other day in the shop, and I thought I would tell you about it because maybe I shouldn't be so trusting. But anyway, look at these beautiful little clothes that this lady came over in the shop, and she showed me these clothes and said I like them for little April, and Holly wants some attention, but we're going to get April dressed into some different clothes while I tell you this story. So I went for a drive, and I video all my drives these days for safety reasons in case there's an accident. And oh, I'm so gentle. I don't, I'm so gentle with her. Um, and so I might put the video up of this live. It's only 10 minutes. I went to a little country town to a store, and I'll put the video up. Some of you might be interested in me driving around my country, but look at this beautiful little cardigan, the colours in it, and the work. It's just gorgeous, isn't it? And look at the little buttons, so sweet. And these were the little trousers, all handmade. Anyway, so I went into this little store, and the two ladies working there were absolutely lovely. Once again, I was having a great experience. We looked around the store. Look at these little trousers she gave me. Look at the workmanship. Just a little bit of elastic in the top. So soft as well. But aren't they sweet? Look at those. Aren't they just gorgeous? So, I went into the shop, and I was looking at all the baby clothes, and one of the ladies working there came over, and this is one of the other little cardigans I found that day, so I thought I would dress her in this today. Isn't it sweet? Beautiful workmanship. Some people are so clever. My mum was a good knitter. I wish I still had all the clothes and the blankets that she made for my babies. But never mind. They were all passed on. But anyway, so we were having a lovely time together. This lady, she thought April was lovely, and she had a cuddle, and that's all right because I always have her in a blanket when I'm giving her to people to have a cuddle, so they don't, touch her face too much and don't hurt her paintwork. And next minute she goes, I've got to show the ladies out the back, because there were ladies out the back. I always leave this little pink top on for a bit of warmth and to cover up her body. So this just fits. Just fits. It is hard finding things that fit. They're either too big or too small. Just fits, sort of. There you go. You're sliding down. And I found these cute little hippie pants. They got a little frill around the top. Aren't they cute? Aren't they cute? We'll put them on today. They match. The pinks and the purples, they sort of match. Oh, I'm not getting my story told. Anyway, so she disappeared out the back, because out the back was a food bank, and no one's really allowed out the back, but she works, it's all one shop, but it's a separate room, and there were ladies working in the food bank getting food parcels ready for people, and she goes, I've got to go show them, and she disappeared out the back. And after a few minutes, I thought, oh, I better go and see what's happening. She might steal my baby and run out the back door. So I went and had a peek, And that's all right. They were all looking, but she wouldn't let any of them touch the baby, little April. She wouldn't let them touch them, and she wouldn't let them hold them. She was very protective, which is lovely. And I said to the ladies, would you like to have a hold as well? And they would go, oh no, that's all right. We thought she was real. And yeah, and that all went great. So we went back out to the shop and we're finding all these clothes. And then this older lady came in. She must have been, I'd say, in her 80s. And she saw little April and she goes, oh, what's this? What's this? And I said, just a little doll, little baby doll we're getting some clothes for. Would you like to have a cuddle? Because that's what I say to everybody, because she's so sweet. And doesn't that look pretty? Isn't that a nice little pretty outfit? Anyway, she immediately said to me, oh, you're one of those people. And she goes, you're just like Meghan Markle with your fake baby. And she had a really angry voice. And she started to poke, really poke. And at this stage, the other lady was still holding April and she was cuddling her in her arms, but I'm standing right there. And I thought, oh, okay. And I said, oh, no, be gentle. Don't poke her, just be gentle. Very expensive little dolls for us collectors. And anyway, she's got louder and she got angrier and she kept on going on about, oh, Meghan Markle with your fake baby. You're just like Meghan Markle with your fake baby. And I'm like, oh, okay, fine. Anyway, she started to touch April's face, but she started to being a bit rough. She was poking and being really rough, and I didn't like it at all. And I went, oh, no, be gentle. Look, she's got beautiful hair. Just be gentle. And then she got her thumb and she put her thumb right here and she pushed as hard as she could. And immediately I was shocked. I was so shocked. But I thought, she's trying to push her face in. And I didn't hurt her, but I got my hand and I flicked her wrist up so that she was really shoving. And I flicked up and no. I said, don't touch her. Anyway, I immediately just took April out of the other lady's arms, because the other lady, you're so shocked you don't move. But, I mean, she should have sort of held her close and walked off across the store, but even I didn't think of it. But I grabbed April and held her real close to my chest, and I took 3 steps back and I said, no. I said, you're being too rough. I said, I think you just need to do your shopping and not touch the baby, thank you, not touch the doll, because I know she's not real. I'm not pretending she's real. Anyway, she walked out the shop, and the other lady, she was really upset. And she came up and she goes, oh, is she all right? And I said, yes, like meaning, is April all right? And I said, yes, but I said, she was trying to smash her face in. And she goes, I know, that was so weird. And she goes, here, and she took April and she's having a cuddle and saying, are you all right? You all right? She absolutely loved her. She had a photo shoot with April. She says, here, take my phone. And she's holding April and she's getting some photos taken with April. She was a really lovely lady. And anyway, I just about finished shopping. I bought quite a few things, and I'll make it a separate video because there's quite a bit to show you. And I don't want these videos to get too long and boring. And so I'm at the counter sorting out what I'm going to buy and not buy, because I tried on every single piece of clothing. I sat in the corner on a chair and they were bringing me clothes and I'm trying everything on. And as I thought I was finished, the lady would run off and find more clothes and say, what about this? What about this? I said, oh, that's beautiful. Anyway, just as I'm doing, and I had April in my arms as I was at the counter, and the lady walked back in. The older lady walked back in, and I brought my husband to show him the fake baby. You've got your fake baby like Meghan Markle. And the husband just had a big grin on his face. He probably thought he was going to meet some insane woman saying the doll was real or something. And anyway, I said, oh, would you like to have a look at my little baby doll? I said, she feels so real. And I put her in his arms. And he goes, oh, he said, she does feel quite real, because she's £5 and that's all right. But I stood real close and I had my hand on April. He was cuddling it and I just had my hand here gently, because I knew I wasn't going to leave April in his arms very long. And the lady came up again and she started poking, and I just said, no, no. I said, you're too rough. I said, you don't do that. You're too rough. I said, that's just a bit rude. And I went back to the counter, and then they left again. And then while I was just starting to pay, April was on the counter wrapped in a blanket, and the nice lady comes up, she goes, I've got to take some more photos. I need some more photos. And she picked up and she put on, there's a table right at the end of the counter. And so she put on a table, and I came over and we're tucking in her top. It was these clothes that she had on that she took the photo shoot, and we're tucking in the top into the trousers. And I said, oh, got to make her look pretty and all this. We were laughing and make sure she looks all pretty. And she got it, and she's taking photos of her clothes and photos of her face. She goes, I've got to show my friends. I want one. I want one. She really didn't want me to leave. She loved April. She could have cuddled her all day. She was a lovely lady. But that older lady, she was rough. She was rough. You know, April was actually vinyl. I didn't know anything about reborn babies when I bought her. I just found a group local to me, and I saw a few babies for sale, and I saw this little boy for sale, but I was too slow. Somebody else bought him. And you know, I never thought I'd have a reborn baby. Never, ever, ever. And then all of a sudden, about, a month ago, I just suddenly thought, no, I really want one. I can have fun with one of those, and yeah, join a new community and make some new friends, and make a little channel. And so it's just been absolutely marvelous, but I didn't know anything about them. So April is vinyl with a cloth body, and I thought they were all silicone, and I'm quite happy. She's got beautiful hair. But if she'd been silicone, and they're really soft, and I watched somebody's video where they said that she wasn't happy with the lady that did the art, the painting on hers, because she must have had long fingernails, and she put dents marks in her hand and on her back. And I'm thinking, if she'd managed to push, she would have squashed her face in, wouldn't she? Like, it doesn't pop back out, does it? So I didn't know anything, but I'm really happy. And a longer wearing, I've told the paintwork lasts longer and things, but I don't know anything about them. I'm just learning and loving this community. Absolutely amazed. Thank you very much for subscribing. I've got nearly 60 subscribers. I'm so thrilled. And I think I might go live so I can chat to you all one day. Go live and say hello. And but little April, she's just a joy. She doesn't wake me up at night. She doesn't cry. And I'm really having fun going out shopping for clothes. But it's made me quite weary, W-A-R-Y, not the weary, tired, but it's made me very weary to be more careful about who I hand her to, and they might just walk off. What if that lady had her in her arms and walked off and then started poking and prodding and hurting her? So I'm going to have to be more careful. I can understand why some of you say that you don't take your baby shopping, or when you do, you cover the pram with a blanket sometimes so people can't see in, because some of you, especially in America, get nasty comments and things. So yeah, it's going to be making me a lot more careful. And yeah, I think I've learnt a lesson. But tell me what you think. I wondered whether she might have had a bit of dementia, or she's just, but why would you hurt a doll? Like, you could say what she said, that's fine, but why would you then start trying to squash in her face's doll and poking her, like she's really poking hard? I'm not going to do it, but she was putting her full force behind her hand. So anyway, that's my story. And yes, I think I'm going to be a lot more careful now, because, she wasn't cheap, or for my budget, she wasn't cheap. But she's just such a sweet little thing. I can't resist touching her. So I hope you enjoy my videos. Thank you so much. I'm really thrilled. And I'll put up the video of me driving over to this little town. It didn't take long. It's a tiny little town. And then I'll do a video of the haul. But I do want to take her into the city and just have a look around at some different shops in the city who have more choice of clothes. My first shopping trip to a smaller town 20 minutes south of me, Um, there weren't many clothes in some of the shops, like her size. There weren't many baby clothes. So if I go into the city, they might have some more. But I like looking in the thrift shops. We call them secondhand shops or op shops. OP stands for opportunity, opportunity shop. But isn't she just sweet? So as I was leaving the shop, the lady went down to the shop next door that sold bakery and sandwiches for lunch and things like that, and she goes, "Oh, I'm off to show them the pictures." So she's showing everyone the pictures of April, and the other lady says, "Oh, you need booties." Well, I'd been in that shop a couple of hours. And I said, "I will get you some booties another day." But we do have the socks and everything that I had the other day. Oh, they're somewhere. So, but it's quite warm today, so she'll be all right in bare feet for a little while. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed my little story, and yeah, just can't express enough gratitude for welcoming me into the doll community, and I'm really enjoying it, and watching your videos. Sometimes I'm watching while I'm doing a bit of knitting or doing some dishes and doing some dusting, and then I forget to come back and leave a comment, and I apologize for that. And I try not to look at the screen too much because I am having trouble with my eyesight, losing my eyesight, and that's why I started this new hobby, because she's just so easy for me to look after. So she's giving me great comfort. But thank you very much. I'll end this video now because I do talk too much. But we'll catch you in the next video. All right. Bye.